Hello all and welcome back. I hope you're all doing really well and having a fantastic weekend. Thank you again for the love and support on yesterday's video. I appreciate every single one of you that watches those videos and drops comments. I love engaging with you guys and providing you with this kind of information. That being said, this Sunday, if some of you are available at 3 p.m. GMT +1 or British summertime, I will be doing a live stream with the team from Hedera Starter again. Did one previously on the channel. And it's just a place for us to all just sort of come together, have a bit of a chat about crypto, Hedera, latest updates with their project, and just kind of have a bit of a fun time, kick back and relax for an hour, hour and a half or so. So I will be releasing some information on Twitter coming around to that. There may also be some rewards for some of you guys that show up, as you'll know from the previous one. Hopefully some of you guys can join. Would be great to talk on more of a formal basis or interactive basis with you guys. That being said, let's jump straight into this one, as despite the markets looking very red, there is some seriously bullish news, and it will explain why XDC has probably just pumped 15%. So, looking at the crypto bubbles in general, obviously not a fantastic day. The end of the week for equities in the US markets was horrific anyway. Still hawkish Fed rolling out plans in the United States to try and curb inflation is really spooking the markets. April was the Dow's worst performance for several years now, I think since COVID. Actually hit back in 2020. So we're going through a bit of a rough patch at the moment, and crypto is no different. As I mentioned previously, there is a positive correlation between US equities and cryptocurrencies across the board. That being said, there are so many great buying opportunities at the moment if you guys are averaging into positions for the long term. See here, Hbar's down another 5% on the daily. We're now trading at sub 16 cents. So a very, very nice price to buy in at. XLM as well, down around a similar sort of price range, 17 cents, down 23% on the month. Engine here, another 5% down on the day, 55% down on the year. Rune, 60% down on the year. There are tons of blue chip projects here that are down massive percents, nearly halved from their previous all-time highs. Quant, 30% down on the month. We're trading around that $100 range again, which for me is my buying spot. Anything around $100 for Quant is a must-buy opportunity for me personally. The other one I wanted to mention is Link. I have no idea how this is now back again, sort of sub $15, 70% down on the year, 30% down on the month, another 3% on the day. This is a must-buy for me again now, absolutely in my buying territory, and I'm averaging this position down. Quant and Link for me are great projects that I like to hold just due to the interoperability, and going into the future, these are the cross-bridge sort of operations that will pull everything together going forward. So some massive opportunities here. That being said, you're probably wondering why XDC has had a bit of a pump, and it's off the back of most likely some of this news, which is that XLM, for example, Stellar Lumens, has been made legal tender in Panama. This is incredibly bullish and has some massive repercussions for the crypto markets in general. And as you can see, one of the replies to this tweet is actually all ISO 20022 coins, which is an ISO standard, are now legal tender in Panama. This includes XDC, so XFIN, XLM, Stellar, Algorand, and Ripple. So this is incredibly important because of this following reply to the tweet, that the IMF now has to hold XLM and these other cryptocurrencies because they are legal tender. Really, really bullish news in general. The International Monetary Fund is now going to have to hold these ISO 20022 standard coins as part of the global operations they provide. We can see in this follow-up article as well, Panama is following El Salvador as it plans to adopt Bitcoin and other crypto like XDC networks as legal tender. So what this effectively means, the second goal of the law, according to him, is to grow the crypto business and bring in investment that creates jobs. Thus, the plan calls for acceptance of Bitcoin and other digital currencies as payment methods over the whole of Panama's geography. Ethereum, XRP, Litecoin, XDC network, Elrond, Stellar, IOTA, etc., Algorand are among the cryptocurrencies specifically named. Now, XDC network, obviously decentralized and hybrid blockchain powered by interoperable smart contracts, developed by XFIN, uses a combination of private and public chains. XFIN's delegated proof-of-stake consensus further enhances efficiency and lowers the need for complicated blockchain infrastructures. Some of the benefits of XDC there. Why this is seriously big news in terms of being Panama. Obviously, Panama as a country anyway is not pretty much an OECD country. It's not sort of a top 10 in, global power wise in terms of GDP. However, it is one of the capital centrals of the globe. Obviously, you've probably heard of a lot of offshore accounts in Panama, and a lot of big companies and corporations run their accounts and payments through Panama. So if Panama has made all of these projects legal tender, that makes it easier for these businesses to operate and process payments in those cryptocurrencies. So it's the knock-on effect of them doing this and then being a financial hub for a lot of accounting practice is enabling the global usage of these crypto projects for enterprise, whether it be sending money and avoiding traditional legal tender. Seriously bullish news for projects like XFIN and XLM. Obviously Ripple as well, but you know, we're still seeing that case go through the SEC. Not much more to be said until that really gets resolved. Mega bullish for XLM and XDC. Talking about that XLM, great sort of chart here saying, or diagram, basically demonstrates an acute understanding of what AFREFUM is doing with Stellar, as well as the role of XLM and in combination with XDC. I mean, you can see this absolute spider web of diagrams of how Stellar is integrating in this interoperability with several different CBDCs, eNaira, Pilot there, Pilot here, ECD, R&D, DXCD, absolutely tons of different stuff going on here. You can see Hyperledger Fabric over there. On the other side, the project Sand Dollar with IBM. The utilization of XLM is really serious, and it massively flies under the radar in comparison or in the shadow of other projects like Ripple and others. So a project that I'm continuing to average into, suggest you guys do some more research on XLM. Probably won't have as explosive gains as the rest of the cryptocurrency projects. As you'll know, I'm still stacking my Hedera bags as I genuinely see that as having the best upside potential for 2022, particularly with the ecosystem development that we're currently seeing. However, this paints a fantastic picture of what XLM has to offer. That being said, even though Panama is accepting those ISO standard coins, Bitcoin has obviously just dipped back below $40,000, and that's part of Panama's move closer to crypto regulation across the board. So what we're actually seeing effectively is proposal signed into law by Panamanian President Laurentino Cortizo. Citizens will be able to buy goods and services and pay taxes using cryptocurrencies. It was passed with 38 votes in favor, 2 abstentions, and no votes against. This bill seeks for Panama to become a hub of technology innovation in Latin America, said Gabriel Silva, a member of the National Assembly and one of the lawmakers promoting the bill. It aims to promote the use of distributed ledger technology and blockchain in the digitalization of the identity of natural and legal persons in or from the Republic of Panama, and as a means to make the public function transparent. So you can see there, identity of natural and legal persons. So corporations as well are heavily included in that jurisdiction definition. That being said, the crypto regulation as a result of this may bring in slightly more stringent laws. However, it's bullish on the whole because of the acceptance criteria that they are moving forward with. And we're seeing this general trend of these companies, particularly non-OECD countries, adopting cryptocurrencies because they understand that it's the future. Talking about that as well, ARCHETYPE, which is an early stage crypto venture capital firm, has plans to close another $150 million fund on May 2nd, be the second fund of the year-old firm, which named Catherine Wu as a venture partner earlier this year, poaching her from Coinbase Global Incorporated. So an ex-Coinbase employee has been poached to join this ARCHETYPE firm. The new fund is obviously focusing on crypto startups in a variety of different areas, and that the idea being is that crypto is on the brink of greater mainstream adoption. So that being said, greater mainstream adoption, what's actually going on with Bitcoin in terms of the macro cycle for Bitcoin. So this guy's tweet here, Aurelian Ohayon on Twitter, is talking about some form of cycle. So 3 different stages: volume peak, sees an increase, which we saw this break in wave 1 effectively. Break 2, which is what he is saying we're at the end of the stage. You begin to see a volume drop off, which we can see down here. You then get a consolidation with an ascending triangle. Increase in volume then leads back to a bull run. So you can see how this wave effectively runs out. He's claiming we're at the end of stage 2 and we may see that breakout. I personally am not too interested in technical indicators such as this. However, this does coincide with those CBBI charts I showed you before in terms of an amalgamation of different factors driving Bitcoin price. And what we saw on those charts was that despite the fact that Bitcoin has been holding the $40,000 price level, we are still nowhere near the peak of the bull run. And we may see a massive leg up coming soon. And we all know how quickly things can turn. Talking about adoption, some of you may have seen this meme, and it's basically asking some people on a night out whether they take $100 cash or a $40,000 Bitcoin. And they all say they'll take the $100 cash because they don't feel like Bitcoin's value is tangible. And unfortunately, this is the narrative for 99% of people on the planet right now. And just is a reminder of how early we are to this at the moment. People would rather take $100 cash instead of one Bitcoin in their wallet. Crazy, crazy world we're in right now. And that will change very, very shortly. Flicking over, want to talk about Hedera, obviously, as it's a mainstay. In particular, DEXs. So SaucerSwap, talk about audits. What exactly are they? Why are they important? What are we doing? All the audits, are all audits created equally? Is the firm itself important, or can any firm audit a protocol? An audit is an independent examination of information. In the context of smart contracts, a handful of firms have become industry standard for credible and reliable audits. Audits conducted by these firms are very thorough, and as the firm's reputation is on the line, of course, naturally. When a firm agrees to audit a protocol smart contract, several steps are involved. First, the protocol's dev team shares its source code. The firm then begins its vulnerability inspection, which is the bulk of the audit. At the end of this phase, a report is shared to the dev team identifying any potential vulnerabilities, severity, and suggested remediation. The dev team then addresses those vulnerabilities. This process can span days to weeks, depending on the breadth of vulnerabilities. After the dev team addresses the suggested remediation plans, the audit firm receives updated code and re-audits, or basically rechecks the code to make sure that those vulnerabilities have been fixed. Once this is completed, the firm delivers a public report, which contains the details of the security sentiment. The public report is what all of us will be able to see. When you are evaluating the security of a protocol, always make sure that the protocol is audited and make sure the firm is reputable. So reputable ones being companies like Certic that you'll probably see across a lot of big projects. If you've never heard of the firm before and they do not have an extensive track record, the purpose of the audit is effectively defeated. SaucerSwap Labs will be fully audited by a reputable firm to maximize security and minimize vulnerabilities. This process is already underway. In conclusion, an unaudited protocol or one audited by a lesser known firm is a vulnerable protocol. Always do your due diligence in evaluating new projects, stay vigilant and make good decisions. Hbar source. So obviously, like I said before, I have serious credence or props effectively to the SaucerSwap Labs team. They are very serious about making sure that this is a safe platform, and they are doing their very best to ensure that it is a good one at the same time, packed with different features that they can provide. And they want to make sure they tick everything off that list. That being said as well, there are some very vigilant people in the community that will be taking a look at SaucerSwap Labs' code. I remember seeing a message from Matt Smithies, one of the Dovu guys, talking about how he'll have a look at the back end of SaucerSwap Labs just to make sure everything appears to be running smoothly and probably gain a bit of insight for himself. So I am very confident in SaucerSwap Labs in general. They're obviously using a very reputable firm to do their audits. They're taking it seriously, and so are other members of the community, which are far more knowledgeable in this realm of the business. So great news in general. Hopefully we'll see some more announcements from SaucerSwap in the future. I'm sure there'll be something coming out next week regarding or pertaining to their launch. Fingers crossed for that one. That being said, talking about SaucerSwap, if you guys do own the NFTs, so a collection or just one of the NFTs, and you are claiming from the FACUET, this is actually the wallet ID for the SaucerSwap FACUET. And what we can see is there's only 5.35 million tokens left in that FACUET. Now, the average claim amount per day is somewhere around 500,000 tokens. That therefore means there's only about 10 days left of supply in this FACUET. So make sure you are claiming every 8-hour period, as it appears that there'll only be about 10 days of claim or claim periods left in this wallet. Of course, they may end up adding more tokens to this wallet. I don't think that's the case. And also bear in mind that they've always stated that they want to align the launch of SaucerSwap DEX with this FACUET drying up. So this is definitely an account ID that you guys want to pay attention to, because as this gets closer and closer to zero, that will signify that we are very close to the DEX launch, potentially as close as 10 days away. Now, of course, that's me sewing together different pieces of information, not confirmed. However, I do believe we'll see something, and that'll go back in line with my earlier predictions that we'd see something in the first couple of weeks of May rather than later out in H2 this year. That's, of course, me being optimistic, but I will stay along those lines. That being said as well, obviously previous video was talking about Stader and the TVL. Jellies has just updated his TVL tracker and it is absolutely brilliant. I will leave this link down in the description. There's way more information on here now. You can enter your Hbar X amount and it will auto calculate your Hbar value, which is fantastic. He's also got the reward tracking that he's pulling on a daily basis. So we can see here where it jumped back up on the 30th, literally was my prediction. We've seen the Epoch rewards jump up on the 30th, literally like clockwork. Predicted that 4 weeks ago and got that almost bang on the money. That also being said, as well, we've got the TVL growth charts in here and a historical view of the TVL in terms of tabular layouts. This is a brilliant resource for anyone that's interested in the statistics and how this is put together, and I will be using some of these numbers in the future to calculate some more metrics for this. So I urge you guys to check this out. Fantastic utility tool, and these are the kinds of tools that we need in the community in order to help grow the ecosystem. Brilliant stuff. One of the things I wanted to sort of close the video off towards is a really interesting article here. I'm not going to read it out in full. It's massive. I will leave this link down in the description. Published on the 28th, and it's obviously talking about Web 3.0, NFTs, and digital art. And it's talking about how Ethereum now has the power to render a donut. No, it's not just to do with donuts, but it's just talking about how these cryptocurrency projects are starting to roll out additional utility to create things directly within the engines. So yes, you read that right, and you're not limited to donuts. It's now possible to render 3D images on chain, and the best part is it's completely free for users, that is. This is the start of a new era of utility for blockchain technology and smart contracts in particular. The team over at Spectra have released their shackled rendering engine, and I spent the last week messing around with it. This post is a bit late since the contract and Genesis collection dropped a couple of months back. However, I've been having some fun with it recently. I'd like to share my conclusions after looking into it a little deeper and making my own contribution with a Cinema 4D type plugin, which enables export models to the engine. So this is seriously interesting that some of these blockchains, for example, Ethereum here, are now able to utilize smart contracts in order to run modeling engines to build stuff directly on the chain. You can see some other crazy stuff here. Encourage you to check out the Shackled Creator tool from the Spectra team, which will allow you to mess around with the rendering using the engine. They have some models already on there for you to try, but you can also use their Blender script or my aforementioned Cinema 4D plugin to export your own models. If you want to learn more about the Shackled engine and how it works, please take a look at this very detailed blog post. If you're interested in what I came up with on messing around, here it is. So experimenting with Spectra Art's NFT on-chain rendering engine, Shackled, and damn is it fun. Here are some crystals that I made, each with high-res wireframe versions as well. And there's some other crazy stuff in here as well of sort of rendering and how it kind of works. Now, this is obviously very, very interesting. And considering that Hedera is much faster, I wonder if we'll see some additional utility for smart contracts built on Hedera, or potentially even smart contract-less equivalents built on top of the Hashgraph ecosystem. Really, really interesting stuff. And it's like another dimension for cryptocurrency projects in general. Anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Like I said, if you are around on Sunday and you want to stop by to the live stream, I'll be there with some of the team from Hedera Starter, and I'll be happy to sort of talk to you guys, answer any questions, and have a bit of banter. That being said, leave a like if you enjoyed this, drop a comment if you've got something to say. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, and I'll catch you in the next one. Cheers.